Well, I'm Mark Medley, and I'm the drummer. Been the drummer since day one.
I'm Melora Zahner, and I'm the lead singer.
I'm Les Shields. I was the original bass player.
I got the idea for doing a re-release. I wanted to finally get all of Raging Fire's tracks together in one place because we had done so many demos and we'd done so many one-off things that had never been released on a formal record. They'd been on compilations and all kinds of things. We had a lot of stuff that just had never seen the light of day, and it was some of my favorite stuff. It was what I considered some of our best stuff. And also, Raging Fire was a band that started out as we were like a little goth punk, cow punk thing, and by the end, it had morphed into this. It was like this modern rock prototype. We didn't even know what it was. We didn't know what. All we knew back in those days is we didn't sound like anybody but us. We wanted to put all that together and kind of try and tell that story, and it's proven to be a tougher story to tell than I thought it would be. But that's why we wanted to do a reissue.
And then we got lucky when I found all these tapes, cassette tapes that weren't even sure if we could get anything off of them.
That's true.
But so I sent them to Mark, and I just said, see if you can make any sense of this. And I don't know, it was like a box full of tapes, and sure enough, that was all those demos we had done all those years.
It was great too because a lot of the master tapes had been lost. Didn't know what happened to them. We had stuff that we even had one cut on the record that didn't have a tape at all. All we had was a digital file. Michael had a digital file, and that's all that existed. And somehow, Les's old friend who had done the record back in 1985, Mike Poole, was able to take all that stuff and salvage it and remaster it and get it. I was just amazed at what he had done with those tracks, and we'd had the analog tape on the EP, and that was not a problem. But the others, the cassette tapes and so forth, were some were in pretty bad shape.
To do the re-release, it meant revisiting the past, which I think it's difficult because we lost Michael, and he was we were a band. We weren't a set of individuals trying to do something. We were family. And so I think in the beginning it was tough for me to listen to. And then as we started talking more about doing this show and putting it out there, I don't know, something clicked for me where I could finally hear it fresh. And it wasn't about Michael or me or Mark or Les. It was the story of the band. Not only that, I could also hear the story of the times. This was capturing a moment in time in Nashville, and I thought probably in an important way. And that all those songs were stories of Nashville and what we were going through as kids during that time. And there were a lot of stories to be told. So it felt like it was time to get those stories back out there and let us all just have a moment to remember. And I think you felt it was a historical thing too.
Yes, I did feel that there was a historical document in the recordings themselves, and then when we got to going through all the ephemera and the photographs and all of that, it was like really want to put this together once and for all. The band really was like a family, and so this whole reunion show has been kind of like a sort of a reunion, family reunion kind of thing. So it certainly brought us back together with Les, for example.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen Les in a long time.
Yeah, I was in touch with Mark. I don't remember how we got in touch with each other, but we discussed one of the songs called More Than This, which was my favorite Raging Fire song. And it was recorded after I left the band, and I'd always wanted to re-record it. And I asked Mark, if that was something we could do. And he said they had been thinking about re-recording some stuff, and he got in touch with Melora, and Melora liked the idea. So we went in the studio and re-recorded More Than This, and that kind of springboarded into what we've accomplished now.
And what was really tough about that too. It's like, well, who do you get to play guitar? And it just so happened, and when Michael was coming up through the scene, I really consider, from what Michael used to tell me, I don't know if he shared that with you, but Warner Hodges was like his mentor. And he learned a lot about guitar playing from Warner. And it just seemed kind of right to bring Warner in to play on the song with us. It's kind of an homage to Michael and the relationship he'd had with Warner. And of course, Joe Blanton was always in the scene with us too. I think we always had these little rivalries in our bands. We were always trying to outdo each other. So, and you had a relationship with Joe from...
Right. Joe and I had been in a punk rock band called The Rats. Back in the, I guess, '79 is when we started. One of Nashville's first punk bands.
So it was like a family homecoming then to make this song happen.
And one thing I would also say about Les back in the day was that Les was he was like an established musician, punk rock guy. When Michael and I showed up, we were just little kids in high school. And he, early on, was the person that sort of got us focused on stuff and had the connections like Mike Poole and Joe and all of those that really helped the band get off the ground in the early days. And I'm always thankful to Les for that. I guess Raging Fire probably played its last show in early 1990, maybe, and it hadn't played. There hadn't been a show since then.
No, we never really gave a proper goodbye.
Yeah,
We just kind of stopped.
it did. It just
Yeah.
seems like it just sort of one day it just wasn't there. So we wanted it to come back. The one thing too related to that was that over the years there were all these people that always talked about the band and how much they liked the band, and there were all these people that we kept on turning up in articles about Nashville music history, and I was sort of like kept on thinking, golly, what was it? I guess we did make an impression, and that was another reason why I realized we needed to do this whole reissue and the show.
I think for me, I'm really worried about being emotional. That's my thing, is to get up there and to see a lot of old friends show up is going to be emotional for me. And in rehearsal, last night we were rehearsing, and Jeff Cease, he used to study the way Michael played guitar when he was a kid. He'd stand there in the very front and just watch Michael. And there we were playing, and he had all the licks down. And it was just such a real surreal moment. I turned and almost expected to see Michael there, and almost, broke into tears at that moment. But it was Jeff, and it was like he was channeling Michael, and that was tough. But really, I don't know, I got super energized by it too.
It was like Michael was there playing it.
When we practiced last night, those songs, it was just a flood of emotion. And boy, the energy was back. And it was almost like it was yesterday that we were telling these stories again. And they still feel fresh, and they still feel real, and those people still exist. And I see them every day, and it's the same story. And they're valid, and so it's held up. So that's how I was feeling, or I've been feeling, reliving the past and having to revisit the why underneath the music. It's been quite a journey.
I went through the same thing in putting all the materials together, putting the songs together, going through and just culling through the photographs. There were so many things that I thought about that I hadn't thought about before that suddenly made sense, and you were so close in it when it was happening 25, 30 years ago. You couldn't see it.
Yeah. It was really, I think I spent most of the past not wanting to listen to the music. It was like a really bad breakup when the band stopped. And it took me a long time. I mean, I mourned us not playing music together for quite a while. And I didn't want to sing, I didn't want to write, I didn't want to do anything. And then Michael Knight started the project, and I thought, well, maybe I could do this again. And then when he died, I just said, I just can't, I can't listen to that stuff at all. I'm just so glad Mark brought it back up. because it's brought me back to life, I think.
That I love to hear. That is good.
My biggest expectation for the show, my biggest hope for the show is to have a good time. The the whole thing about Raging Fire is we were a hardworking band, but the reason we were a hardworking band is because we enjoyed it so much. It was fun. It was a great time. We traveled all over the United States. We had a great time, and hopefully we're going to relive that tomorrow night.
I think that if some people come who were part of our family, if they're able to come tomorrow night, and if some new faces show up, if we can just take a moment to celebrate the past, the history, the influence and impact it's had on people's lives, just remember a few things together and maybe inspire some more young people, I think then we could say that was a good day, that was a good show.
I will say this for the record, this band has so many people and so many people that liked it and cared about it and have helped us and just gone out of their way, and we were so lucky to have all these friends that have helped us with this reissue, and I can't thank everyone enough. I wish Michael could be here.
Michael would be loving this right now.
He really would be loving this. He would have taken over the whole thing, though. We'd be. I mean, it would have been. He would have chosen to do it in some other room, and it would have been. Would have gotten complicated.
That was awesome, y'all. It's so nice to come back and give a proper goodbye. Thank you.